One beautiful baby girl reported missing after 57 conflicting stories found dead. The mother finally charged. Join us next in the Murder Mafia for Justice for Evelyn, the story of Evelyn Boswell. Welcome back, Murder Mafia. I am your host, Father Richard Bison. I wanted to bring this case to you because it's breaking news, and as everybody knows, I have become a leading voice for child advocacy as far as abuse, sex trafficking, and things of that nature goes. And this case I've been following since its inception because I spent quite a bit of time living in the state of Tennessee, and it is the beautiful baby Evelyn Boswell's disappearance, kidnapping, murder, and now finally possibly some justice coming her way. Before I get into that, guys, I do just want to say that I have some bracelets left over. If you want a bracelet, it's very, very easy to get one. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, all you need to do is leave a 5-star rating and review, follow the Facebook page and or Instagram, message me, and I send one out to you. There's 57 that were sent out about a week ago. They should be received any day now. If you don't listen on Apple, you can still get a hold of us by leaving a rating and review on the Facebook page, following the Instagram, and messaging me that way. Also, please check out the Etsy shop. I normally don't plug my merchandise, but I'm plugging the End Child Abuse merchandise. There's a beautiful design for the handmade tumblers, as well as the handmade shirts, all crafted by the Polka Dot Pig Craft Company. Please check them out. A portion of all proceeds from all sales goes towards end child abuse and child trafficking and things of that nature. So I'm sure many, many people have heard about this case. It's unbelievably heartbreaking. This little girl reminds me of my daughter. You guys have heard me get emotional many, many times on my show because covering these type of cases, especially for a dad, and especially some of the things I've seen in my life, are not easy. They're not pleasant. They're very, very painful. This one, I don't know why. I think maybe because she looks like my daughter, that it really, really hit home. This case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through some of the original story. I have a very, very long interview. It's almost 9 minutes that I'm going to put in here. I normally don't put in things that long, but I'm going to put it in. But I'm also going to point out several things before I get to that point, so you guys have an idea of what I want you to pay attention to. So, Evelyn's mother, her incubator, I'm going to call her because she doesn't deserve to be called the mother, reported Evelyn missing on February the 19th of this year. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI, issued an Amber Alert, sent out a tweet, and issued an Amber Alert stating that if anybody had seen Evelyn, please contact the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, gave the phone number. The case was launched because the grandfather, Tommy Boswell Sr., hadn't seen the baby in over 2 months. Right from the jump, there was some very, very, very strange things if you paid attention to this. Unfortunately, the police, who have done a marvelous job in this, had to let things play out, and we'll get into more of that later on. The next day, February 20th, TBI issued another statement just describing what she was wearing, and she was such a beautiful little girl. The smile just kills me. She was wearing a pink tracksuit, pink shoes, and a pink bow. She was reportedly last seen on December 26, 2019. She was not reported as missing until February 18th of 2020. So here's where already things start. Here's the problem, and the biggest thing I think they got her mother caught. These stories didn't add up. Why, first of all, why you would wait 2 months to report your child missing is absolutely beyond the scope of absurdity. There is no reason why anybody on the planet would wait 2 months to report their child missing. Okay. Second of all, she reportedly said that the last time the child was seen was December 26th, the day after Christmas. Big problems coming up with that part of the story. So again, TBI just updating, giving a lot of pictures, updates, things of what she may be wearing, who she may have been seen with, things like that. On February 21st, 2020, the TBI once again reported that investigators were seeking information now about a gray BMW, and the license plate was issued, and the individuals that were driving it were connected to Evelyn's disappearance. They sent out a tweet that said, "We now have information that indicates individuals driving a gray 2007 BMW with Tennessee tag 3M96W9 have information regarding Evelyn Boswell's whereabouts. Spot it, call the TBI." I'm sure the police at this point had already been suspicious. But on the 21st, Sheriff Jeff Cassidy told the media that his office had received conflicting reports about when Evelyn disappeared. Already her story is unraveling. He said one report indicated that she was seen, according to the mother, on December 26th. However, the mother said she was with the babysitter. The babysitter could not have seen her on the 26th as she was out of town, and that the babysitter reported the last time she had seen her was actually December 10th or 11th. Officials did say, though, at that point in time, Megan Boswell and Ethan Perry were both involved in the investigation. They were helpful. They were involved. Perry, the sheriff said, was stationed in the military in Louisiana. The sheriff said that the mother had full custody of Evelyn. However, the sheriff already noted that some of the information the mother had been given had not been, quote, accurate, which means already, right off the bat, you know that they're looking at her. Quote, her stories aren't leading up to stuff we went out and checked on. That's a polite way of saying she's been busted lying a lot already. The sheriff said, pointing to video surveillance evidence and eyewitness testimonies, but he couldn't clarify those because at the time there was no arrests. The sheriff said described some of the information as conflicting and inaccurate. The sheriff said they believed Evelyn was alive at the time. Unfortunately, we now know that that's not the case. As of February 21st, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said more than 350 leads had come about Evelyn's disappearance. None of them had any credibility. Also, that same day, Megan Boswell spoke with WCYB outside of a Bristol courtroom, and that's the 9-minute interview I'm going to plug in. Before I do that, I want to point out a bunch of issues I have with this interview. But Boswell told WCYB that she knew who had Evelyn and didn't want to contact police because she thought the person would disappear with her daughter. She said, quote, the reason I didn't report it or anything was I knew the person who had her. I didn't want them to run away with her. I was going to wait to put this in, but I'm going to put this in, but I want you guys to pay attention to a couple things for me before we get into this interview. First of all, if you want to go to YouTube and search up the interview because you'll see what I'm saying. She avoided any questions about her feelings. That was the first thing that struck me as very, very odd. Second, and I know people will have issues with this, people grieve different ways, but she wasn't grieving at the time. She laughed about 50 times in this video, and it just completely drives me crazy. Every time she was asked certain questions, she kept deflecting and then starting to compliment police. What that does to anybody who studies body language or knows anything about it is if you deflect and start complimenting, you're trying to draw the attention away from yourself and trying to kiss up to the people you're talking about, okay? She choked up a couple times, but there was not one tear. Totally weird. The story that she gave about who has her is so vague, it's garbage. And she keeps saying, well, I can't give information, ongoing investigation, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. Specifically at the 7:50 mark, she's asked by the reporter, are you worried about her? Her response, in a way, yes. No. If your child is abducted, you would be fucking terrified. You would be worried. She said they're not answering calls. They took off with her. There is no in a way. Okay? There is no in a way. She also kept saying she's hopeful, she's hopeful, she's hopeful. Your child at this point has been gone almost 3 months. Hope would have been, in my personal opinion, and maybe I'm wrong about this part, but hope would have been the last thing. She was also asked, does she have any regrets about the way she handled this whole thing as far as not reporting it, waiting 2 months? Her answer, kinda. She was also asked right after that, was there anything that you would do differently? Answer, yeah, probably. No. The reporter then asked a pretty good question because she had already said that she was worried that these people that had her would take off with her. So the reporter asks her, well, why would you leave them with you if you were worried about them taking her? She completely ignores the question and says, well, they were just watching her while I worked. I want you guys to listen to this and just hear how conflicting the whole story is. It's really weird.
I just want to tell you about like her favorite things and personality-wise. I know, like looking on TV and just kind of seeing a picture, it's a lot harder to, you know, envision a baby. Like her favorite food is like sweet potatoes. She's really sweet. She loves to give people kisses. Favorite song is Baby Shark. Just like that kind of stuff.
Can you tell me, what's her favorite toy?
She has a little Baby Shark puppet.
What would y'all do together?
Well, she loves to take baths. That was her favorite thing, and she had little shark toys that swim in the bath and stuff like that.
How old is she now?
She's 15 months today, actually.
Oh, wow. Can you tell me a little bit, like, so you said she's very sweet. Is she sweet with everybody, or just...
She is. She loves everybody.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about, like, how you're feeling? Do you miss her? Are you worried?
Of course I miss her, and, like, I can't tell anything about the ongoing investigation, but they are. I'm sure you all have released an article about the car and stuff like that, so they have a pretty good idea of who has her. I mean, if they're watching, I just want them to bring her back.
Is there anything you'd like to say to them if they're watching?
I just want her back. Yeah, that's my child.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I know this must be hard. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about her? Do you have any pictures of her? Have you been looking?
Not on me, no.
Not on you. Have you been looking at photos and stuff of her while you're? How are you coping with all of it?
I just want her back.
Just want her back. If you could tell her anything now, what would you say to her?
I love her and I miss her, and that I'll be with her as soon as I can get to her any way I can.
Is there anything that you can tell us about, like, what kind of baby she is? I know you said that it's hard to see.
She's a happy baby. She hardly ever cries. She wants to wave and talk to everybody. She walks funny. She doesn't know how to pick her feet up, so she kind of wobbles.
Is she talkative?
She is.
What,
she giggles a lot. You'll smile at her, she'll just start giggling. She's very happy.
Mm-hmm. And so you said she is talkative. It's full sentences. Like, what milestones has she met? Like, is she a smart little girl?
She is. She hit every milestone early. She can almost say I love you. She's not fully got to sentences yet, but she does say a lot of words.
You must be so proud of her.
I am. When Baby Shark plays, she tries to, like, dance with them and sing it.
You said that's her favorite song. Do you do the puppet with her a lot? Mm-hmm. And I know all of this is very hard. Can you tell me, like, how you're feeling?
I just want her back. That's all I want.
Are you feeling worried or anything along those lines?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that at all?
Well, the reason I didn't report it or anything is because I knew the person who had her, and I didn't want them to run away with her. And as soon as they thought anything was going on, they just kind of vanished. Mm-hmm. So I'm just worried about, like, where they're at, what they're doing with her at this point in time.
So you do know who has her? You do. Can you tell us who that is, or you don't?
I can't release anything further about that. I'm sure they will at the press conference, but further than that, I can't say anything.
Mm-hmm. And so you do know who has her. Are you worried about her safety?
Well, now I am, because they won't answer phone calls. They've just kind of disappeared.
Mm-hmm. What is it like to? I'm assuming that you trusted this person. How has this trust been broken? What's been going on with that?
It has definitely been broken after this.
Have you spoken to her father at all during this process? Are you having any support from him or from your family? Yeah,
my grandma's very supportive. She always is.
That's good. But you haven't spoken to him at all?
Mm-mm.
When was the last time you saw her?
In December.
In December. Okay. And what was that last day like? Was it a good day? I think it was around Christmas, right? Can you tell me about that?
It was a good day. She had a little pink bow in her hair and a little Puma tracksuit on. It was hot pink.
And what, like, I know that you're hoping that she'll be returned shortly. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the person or people that have her that you think they should hear from you?
They should just bring her back. They obviously know, like, what's going on, and, like, they need to bring her back home.
Mm-hmm. And you said that you trusted this person. So when did you realize that trust might have been broken?
Well, when they just kind of took off and wouldn't answer anybody.
Around when was that?
Whenever this whole thing started.
Okay. All right. And Can you tell me a little bit more about like how you're feeling? I know all of this is scary and everything.
It is. I just want her back.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can think about. Is just getting her back.
Is there anything the community can do to help you?
No. Other than look for her. I know they released the car information and the tag number and stuff like that. Just any leads at all, they need to like call us so we can go check them out. Try to find her.
Has anyone like have you gotten any information from the community that's been helpful, or you just kind of been listening?
I don't really know. They've all been looking at leads and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are working their butts off.
Has the police department and everything, the sheriff's office, been keeping you in the loop for this?
They
whole
have been.
process? How's that been going? Has that been good? Positive?
It is good.
Good. And I know that you said that you're getting a lot of support from your family. Are they like helping you going to courts and meetings and stuff with you? I know you've had a lot of.
Yeah, they didn't know I had court today, or I'm sure my grandma would have been there.
Did you keep it from them, or?
I mean, I've just not really talked to them that much today, to be honest. And like I said, stuff was going on like while we were sitting in the courtroom, and I couldn't. Well, not while, but like waiting to go to court, and like I just couldn't tell her exactly what was going on.
Mm-hmm. So you said like obviously you can't share anything about the case, so you haven't been sharing with like your family or anything either.
No.
How's that of not being able to confide in anyone?
I mean, the police officers are very nice, especially like Sergeant Matt Price and stuff like that. I can talk to him or like them, and they've been like really helpful this whole time. They really have been.
Mm-hmm. And anything else that you think that people should know about Evelyn, about like what makes her so special?
She's just a very sweet baby. She's got, the little dimples on her face.
Do you think she looks like you?
No, she definitely looks like her dad, but she does have my eyes.
That's good. You have very pretty eyes.
Thank you. She's the cutest baby ever. So you'll know it's her when you see her.
Mm-hmm.
She loves everybody. She tries to kiss everybody on the cheek. She tries to wave to everybody. She's very friendly. She's very friendly and sweet. So.
Mm-hmm. When hopefully you're reunited with her, what will be the first thing that you do?
Just hug her. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but like I miss how she smells and like her laugh and like everything. I just want to hold her.
So I know that this must be like you're missing your baby, and then there's been trust broken, right, as well. Are you worried about her safety?
I mean, in a way, yes, just because we can't find, the car or nothing like that. But they have exhausted almost every option, you know what I'm saying? They're working around the clock. They have a whole room of people up there, like, dedicated just finding her, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they are going to find her?
I do. I have full confidence.
You do? Okay. Are you feeling hopeful?
I am.
Can you tell me about that? Like, what keeps you going? What's giving you hope? And
the team up there is just honestly really good. Mm-hmm. They're all really good, and I can like confidently say that, like when I'm not up here, I know that they're doing their best to find her. I'm not worried that when I'm not up here, they're not like, just sitting around and twiddling their thumbs. I know that they are trying genuinely.
Right. Do you have any regrets about not involving police sooner? I know that.
Well, sort of, but also in a way, I knew that as soon as anything went down, the person was going to just disappear, and they have, and they've tried to find them. They are going to find them. Mm-hmm. And I know that they'll bring her back to me.
You feel fully confident in that. That's good. But if you could do this all over again, is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah, I probably called the first day. I should have. But I just didn't want them to run with her. Like they have now.
Did you ever expect them to run with her?
I knew that if anything really happened and anybody got involved, that they probably would.
Can you tell me why she was with them if you were worried about this?
They were watching her for me while I went to work.
Okay. So it was like a babysitting type childcare situation?
Yeah.
But you thought they might run with her?
No, until they took her, no. Then after that, I was like, well, if anything happens, I'm worried they will run with her. And to be honest with you, I won't lie, I didn't know how good the team was up here, and if I did, I would have called the second that I realized. They are very good, like I said. They are doing everything they can, and I'm very confident in that. And that makes the situation a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. And so you said that, when did you realize that they had completely disappeared?
Like I said, I can't release anything like specific. I'm sure they will at the press conference, but.
So, anything else you'd like to add? Anything that you want to tell me about Evelyn?
Her favorite food is sweet potatoes. She's allergic to carrots.
She's allergic to carrots. What else does she like?
She loves those little applesauce pouches.
Yeah.
She's very smart. Like, even she quit her own sippy cup at 6 months old, or not a sippy cup, but she quit a bottle. I'm sorry, and went straight to a sippy cup. And like, I would leave her snacks on the floor, like in the little containers, and she'd open them up herself and like get one out at a time. Like, she's just a very smart, very good baby, and I just want her back.
You just must be so proud of her.
I am.
Is there anything that you would like to say to her?
That I love her and that I will find her. She'll be back as soon as humanly possible.
Anything else you think people should know?
No, not at this moment.
And again, guys, I never like to put something that is that long in there, but I wanted you to hear the whole thing, and I wanted you to hear it word for word, verbatim. No confusion. No, well, what in context? How was this said? That was the interview, 10 minutes, word for word, verbatim, with her, nonstop. Okay, this is not normal. This is not normal behavior. I've covered cases where people said, "Oh, there's people grieve different ways," but according to her, she wasn't grieving because she was so helpful. She was so hopeful. Whatever. The next day, February 22nd, 2020, the TBI announced on social media that the search for Evelyn obviously was continuing. They had found the gray BMW located in Wilkes County, along with the individuals that were in it, which happened to be her mother and her mother's boyfriend. Very, very interesting. So, obviously, you can see that she's trying to deflect and put the blame on anybody humanly possible except herself. On the next day, February 23rd, the TBI released a different photograph of Evelyn. She's just such a beautiful little baby. It's just unbelievable. February 24th, the TBI released a new video of Evelyn with information. Again, I'm not going to get too much into that, but she's just a beautiful little girl. Later on that same day, Megan Boswell spoke to the CBS affiliate there, WJHL, and told them that her mother, Angela, had taken Evelyn to Mendota, Virginia. Quote, "I told the TBI where to find her in Mendota. My mom took her to a campground in a silver camper, and if they don't go tonight, I'm going to find her myself. Because I've told them, and they're not really like taking it seriously, and if they don't go tonight, I will go myself and go get her. They're not taking me seriously. TBI isn't. Because I've not fully told them, like, I've been like, hey, like my mom camped out in Mendota, to go check him out. But I've never been like, hey, specifically, hey, she's like in a silver camper, because my mom did threaten me, like, if I told anybody. I'm not going to go and get into that, but she did," Boswell continued. Here's another problem with that. So for 3 months now, almost 3 months, you've been terrified to say anything because you're afraid your mom's going to run. And now all of a sudden, they're starting to find out that you're full of shit. And now all of a sudden you're going to run down to Virginia and get your baby. Again, none of this added up ever. And none of it ever added up. She said she also wanted to address the rumors about her family in the same interview. "Gypsies are not a cult," she said. "They have been asking people if there's like a gypsy ringleader. And we're not like ringleaders. We're not like out here kidnapping babies or anything like that." "Well, yeah. And like my dad's very proud of that. He's just mad about all the rumors going around, like trashing them, because like we're not a cult. You know what I mean? We're not like nothing like that at all." Again, oh my God, she deflects and deflects and deflects and deflects. She doesn't answer anything directly because she's lying, and she's not smart enough to think up of a lie on the fly. Oh, this is just so fucking infuriating with her. February 25th of 2020, WJHL reported that Megan told him in a Facebook message that she wasn't able to take the polygraph test she was scheduled to take because she was pregnant. Again, I do my research. The only time a pregnant woman should not take a polygraph is in the 3rd trimester. She was nowhere near the 3rd trimester. No reason in the world she shouldn't have taken a polygraph test, except she would have known she was going to fail it. So later in the day, February 25th of 2020, so this is, again, just a few months ago, the TBI said that there were unsubstantiated reports circulating on social media that investigators were going to Mendota to search for Evelyn. The sheriff's office said that they were absolutely not true. Captain Andy Seabolt said investigators did ask the U.S. Marshals and the Washington County Sheriff Office to check out the campgrounds in Mendota, but there has been no further mention of that happening, anything else. Their response came after the child's mother, who was the killer, spent 8 hours in Sullivan County Sheriff's Office on Tuesday. As of 9 p.m., she was actually still there giving a statement that night. About 5 hours after that, about 4 o'clock in the morning, the next morning, TBI did announce that she had been arrested and charged on just false reporting. Evelyn was still missing. The sheriff's office the court had set the bond for her at $25,000. She was being held in Sullivan County Jail. And at this point in time, they still actually didn't know exactly what happened. But what they did know was that her story had literally, according to one of the investigators, changed 57 times. She had given 57 different stories about the way things happened. That's according to Captain Andrew Seabolt. 57 different lies. Just kept changing things. Okay? Just after the conference ended at about 1:40 p.m., investigators in Wilkes County received a tip and kicked off a search for Evelyn near a pond in Wilkes County. The pond was located north of Wilkesboro. Turns out to be no shocker that it was reported that the property at the center of the search with the pond for Evelyn in Wilkes County, North Carolina, was connected to the Boswells through a family. Property records show a home near the pond is owned by a family member of William McLeod, the boyfriend of Evelyn's grandmother. So again, no surprise here. Around 5:20, the Wilkes County Sheriff's Office that day announced that the search for Evelyn in the pond was inconclusive. Investigators used a remote-operated vehicle to search the pond and found nothing. So what that is actually like a mini sonar that's going to scan the pond and see if they can find, unfortunately, any traces of a human body by shape. Later that evening, WVLT spoke with William McLeod, connected to Megan's mother, Angela, over the phone. McLeod had called A. Hood Bonding in Kingsport, Tennessee, and WVLT news reporter Gwendolyn Dearce interviewed him via phone. McLeod said he'd only seen Evelyn 1 or 2 times since he began dating Angela Boswell in June of 2019. He said that he had offered to do a polygraph and offered his DNA to investigators. As of about 10 p.m. on that night, there was no updates, any more updates at that point in time. Here's where things start to get interesting. Angela and William, so the grandmother and her boyfriend, appeared in Bristol court. They lowered their bond to $10,000 as long as they agreed to wear an ankle monitor. McLeod's grandmother, Mary McLeod, said her grandmother and Angela came over to her home on February 21st, the same day that the two were arrested, and asked for gas money. Mary said her grandson's feet were wet up to the knees. To me, that says that they might have probably moved the body. And just for the record, I think all three are guilty. All three are involved in this. I think the mother killed the baby, and I think the grandmother and the boyfriend hid the body or got rid of the body. At around 5 p.m. that day, police in Yankinville, North Carolina, confirmed they were investigating a tip that Evelyn was spotted at a KFC there with her grandmother and McLeod weeks previously. Then just a couple days later, on February 28th, investigators confirmed that they were looking into a mobile home in Sullivan County. The man who lived at the home said authorities took something from a scene. The man, identified as Zachary Warfield, said he saw officials digging up soft ground near the home. Unfortunately, they never reported as to what they took. March 1st, the TBI investigated said that they received 770 tips to date, but none of them had led to any confirmed sightings. Megan then went to court March 2nd, said that she was trying to get her bond lowered from $25,000 to $10,000. The judge smartly said, hell no. William McLeod also appeared in court on March 4th. A crew from CBS affiliate WJHL caught him on camera trying to speak with Angela Boswell, Evelyn's grandmother, as he appeared to be blowing kisses to someone. First of all, you're being held because you stole a car and you're suspected in a murder and you're blowing kisses. Unbelievable. March 6th, the TBI investigation announced the remains believed to belong to Evelyn were found at a property that belonged to a family member of Megan Boswell's. Here's where things start to finally change. As per a report that was sent out by TBI on that day, TBI says we have a heartbreaking update in the search for #Evelyn Boswell. This evening's authorities found remains believed to be those of missing 15-month-old. An autopsy is pending and the investigation remains ongoing. Thank you for supporting this difficult process, with a beautiful picture of this little girl. Oh my God. March 9th, Megan Boswell appeared in the Sullivan County Court on that day, making her first appearance since the remains believed to be her daughter, Evelyn, were found. A judge raised her bond to $150,000. The only reason that would happen is if prosecutors contacted the judge, the police contacted the judge and said that they had information they did not want her running, which is exactly what she would have done. During the hearing, investigators with the TBI reviewed details about what they found during the search that led to the discovery of the remains. TBI Special Agent Bryant Fraley testified in a court that when he interviewed Megan Boswell, she made several false statements, which he said cost investigators time during the investigation. Fraley said a body of a child approximately 1 to 1.5 years old was found during a search at a home in the 500 block of Muddy Creek Road belonging to Megan's father, brother, and grandmother. Investigators found clothing matching the description of the clothes Evelyn was last seen in, as well as the child's clothing, toys, and diapers. Boswell's case is expected to be bound over to a grand jury in April. Well, it took a little bit longer, but she was indicted. Fucking finally. She was indicted on 19 counts related to the death of her beautiful little girl, Evelyn. She was indicted on 2 counts of felony murder, 1 count of aggravated child abuse, 1 count of aggravated child neglect, 1 count of tampering with evidence, 1 count of abuse of a corpse, 1 count of failure to report the death of under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, 12 counts of filing a false police report. I want to make something very clear here. The murder charge was expected. The aggravated child abuse, for people that don't know, everybody knows what murder is. Many people get confused by the aggravated part of a crime. The difference with aggravated, okay, there's a difference between a standard abuse or child abuse and an aggravated child abuse case. Regular child abuse could be you were driving down the road, you didn't buckle your child in, or you thought they were buckled in, they fell out of the car, and they got injured. That can be considered child abuse because the child was hurt while under your care, even if it was an accident. Aggravated means that it was intentionally inflicted. You purposely through that. If they were charged with aggravated child abuse for the child falling out of the car, that means that you purposely either pushed them out of the car, purposely did not buckle them in the car, but you had you knew that could happen or probably was going to happen. Okay. This is not something, this is something that I hope, and again, guys, my Twitter account has literally been banned for slamming some of these parents that abuse their children, kill, rape, torture their children. I hope this bitch fries. She, if for no reason, knew what happened to her daughter and lied because I thoroughly believe she loved the attention. If you, again, watch the interview, she loved the attention. She loved the cameras being in her face and talking to her. She knew exactly what was going on. If she didn't, she would have told somebody what happened. She would have told the police. She would have told family members. She would have told the press where the baby was, who the baby was with. People aren't stupid. Sociopaths like her prey on people that are gullible. They prey on people that they believe are not smart enough to see through their bullshit. The other problem with sociopaths is they begin believing their crap. And I firmly believe that she seriously started believing her crap. She started believing that she was going to get away with it. This is unbelievable. One of the reasons that she was charged with false reporting is she said, quote, this was in the arrest affidavit, the false statement concerning the alleged last physical contact with the defendant had with her infant daughter and Ethan Perry's alleged refusal to respond to her texts and voicemails regarding her daughter following an argument with Ethan Perry about the custody arrangements concerning her daughter. She lied about, here's the thing. She had full custody because her Evelyn's father was in the service. Okay. She tried to claim that she had not spoken to him at all about this thing. It was a total lie. She never contacted him. She didn't contact her own child's father to let her know that their kid's missing. Again, such bullshit. It's so far from even being believable that I'm actually stunned it took this long to arrest her. I really am. She was also charged in her false report in the count 10 because she said that the false statement concerning the alleged time frame of when the defendant gave her infant daughter to Ethan Perry to keep since she could not handle her daughter anymore, and that Ethan Perry alleged threats to take the defendant to court to address custody of their daughter. Again, she came up with so many different stories to try to cover her own ass. It's heartbreaking. She said that there was a false statement concerning the death of her infant child, and that the defendants claimed that her child death resulted from either her or Hunter Wood rolling over onto the child while sleeping, and that the defendant did not know the location of the child's body. Again, here we go again, another story. She tried to say that, oh, well, she might have died by us rolling on top of her. It's so ridiculous. It's so obscene and so absurd. It infuriates me to no end that it just doesn't care. If you don't want your baby, if anybody is listening to this, and I'm going to say this, and this is male, female, whatever you identify as, if you don't want your child and you have thoughts of hurting that child, contact me. I will find a place for your child to go. I will contact somebody anonymously to get that child help. Before you hurt that child, before you kill that child, before you let somebody else hurt or kill that child, contact me. It will remain completely confidential. I will help you find a place for that child to go. Because that child does not deserve what you are thinking of or planning about. They deserve to grow up and love and take care of their own children and have a life. Guys, again, please check out the Etsy shop. The End Child Abuse line is so important for this. For myself, the Podfather, thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk soon. Stay safe, and remember, everybody, evil walks among us.